Hey, welcome everyone to the From the Shadows Podcast. I'm your host, Shane Grove. And before we get started with this week's episode, I just want to remind everybody that if you want to check out all things From the Shadows Podcast, go to our website, fromtheshadowspodcast.com. On there's links to all of our social media, our Facebook, our Instagram, our X, our Patreon page, even our store, all kinds of cool stuff. If you have a story, though, that you want to share with me or an experience that you want to talk to me about, hit the contact button and you can send me an email. I'll get back a hold of you, and maybe it's something you can come on the show and share. And if you want to get a hold of me directly, you can find me on Instagram at Shane Grove Author. Send me a message, or any of the Facebook pages. You can message us through that. So if you do have a good story, please send us a message. Just like today's or tonight or this morning, whenever you're listening's guest. And I want to give a warning about this episode. At least the first 15, 20 minutes of this story that you guys are going to hear is one of the creepiest, spookiest things I've heard. So if you're somewhere in the middle of the night listening to this, turn on a light or phone a friend, because I think you're gonna need it. So, with that being said, Drew, welcome to the From the Shadows Podcast.
How are you, man?
Hey, you know how excited I am after talking to you about having you on to come and share this, whatever this is, because I don't even know that either one of us know.
Yeah, I truly have no clue. All I know is it's been, it's given me nightmares and the heebie-jeebies even just talking to you right now, like, it really creeps me out.
Yes, I 100% do not blame you, because, yes, after we talked, I was just stunned. So, so with that being said, I want you to go ahead. I'm just gonna let you get into the story. You can kind of describe where you're at within reason. We're not going to give away too many specifics about where some of this took place, but I want you to share like the general area and just describe what you described to me the other day.
Okay. Well, for all the listeners, I live in North Carolina. I live in a small town, Mount Airy. And, well, I had a very terrifying experience with something that I can't explain. But it all took place about two and a half years ago. I used to be a beer delivery driver. And Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, I drove a large truck, which was called an end loader, where the beer's in the back. But on Wednesdays is the day that I drove a smaller truck, about a 26-foot long trailer truck, which was called a side loader. And I used to start very early because I built a good relationship with my customers, and I would get a key and the alarm codes and things like that. So I would start probably about 2 o'clock in the morning, give or take. And I'd usually get to my first couple stops between 3 and 3:30 in the morning. Well, the particular morning that I'm talking about, I actually started a little bit earlier because I wanted to get done and get home because I had stuff to do. So I decided to start a lot earlier. And basically I got to my first stop around 3:30ish in the morning. And, well, it was a bar that I went to. And now, mind you, I've been delivering to these same locations for years. And this particular bar that I went to, it was always really creepy at this place, but, it was just, I guess, just really late at night and things like that. Well, this particular bar, you had to drive the truck through the parking lot, but you had to go around back, and you had to kind of swing hard to the right and then to the left to make it back behind this location because of where the bar sits and then the woods that are right behind it. Really, really tight squeeze. Um, and mind you, like I said, I've done this for years, been delivering the same place. Well, when I first got back there, I parked my truck, I cut on my hazard lights, and I cut on my service light. And if anybody doesn't know, service light is a light that's in the back of your tractor that most drivers use it to hook up to trailers, but I use it to eliminate some light so it's not, because this is complete pitch darkness out here. And I do that as I always do. I start getting my handheld and my printer, and I get ready to get out of the truck. And I climb down my stairs in my truck, and of course, excuse me, I forgot to cut the engine off of the truck, so it was quiet. Well, I get out, and at first, I'm just kind of happy go lucky, blood pumping, ready to get the day over with. But that's when I noticed, like, it was just completely silent. Like, and mind you, there's a lake close to this bar. And normally, all the times I've been out there, you can hear the frogs, the crickets, all that. But
Mhm.
this particular morning, it was just completely silent, like as if somebody muted the whole world. And I kind of stood there for a second, and I'm like, that's really weird. That's really creepy. But I was like, all right. So I go up to the bar area through the back door, unlock it, and then I come back to my truck, and that's when I start throwing up my doors to be able to take off the kegs and packaged beer to bring into to this establishment. Well, as I start loading up, well, hang on, I have to get my hand trucks off the back of my truck. When I went to the back of my truck, um, that's when I got this feeling like I was being watched, and it wasn't like subtle. It was like a snap of the finger, like. And I kind of stopped and just looked around, and I was like, and I'm usually not paranoid. I'm usually, just whatever. I'm not a small guy, I'm flinging kegs all day. I'm like, whatever. Now, so I get my hand trucks, I get them over to the bay doors, and I start loading up beer and stuff, and I start taking it into the place. But the whole time that I'm going back and forth of bringing in this beer, like the sense of something's watching me, it's like it increased and kept increasing. And like I said, the whole time, it's like if you drop something out there, it would echo because it was just dead silent. So as I get all their beer in there, at most places, whenever you bring kegs, you got to get empty kegs. And I was loading those up. It was the last part of my day. And of course, I was getting my check, printing off their paperwork and all that good stuff. And as I was going to the door, getting ready to leave, all of a sudden I hear this extremely loud snap. And it was like a branch or a stick. I don't even know, but it was very loud. And especially where, like I said, it was dead silent, it like echoed. And I just kind of froze for a second. And I'm just like, well, what was that? I was like really creeped out because it just I don't know, it just came out of nowhere. Well, I was like, okay, so I'm really creeped out at this point. So I'm getting ready to lock the door, and then all of a sudden my phone rings. And after a snap, branch being broke, and then your
Mhm.
phone goes off, I literally jumped. I was like freaked out. So I reach into my back pocket and pull my phone out, and I answered it, and it's my supervisor. And he's like, "Hey, good morning. You doing all right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." He's like, "Did you hit anything?" And I was just like really confused. I was like, "Well, what do you mean? Did I hit something?" And he's like, "I don't know, probably about a minute ago or so, your camera in your truck got set off." And for all the listeners that don't know, there's a camera that faces the driver and outside the windshield. And basically, the only way this camera is going to get set off is if, like, you drive off the road, you hit a hard pothole or something like that, and it will start recording you to basically, it's like an insurance type thing, but also to make sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And he's like, "Yeah, your camera got set off." And I was like, "Really?" And I was really confused because I'm like, "But my truck's parked." And he's like, well, it set off the camera a second ago because I got an email and I checked it and I was making sure, you didn't hit a deer or something like that. And I was like, no, man, I'm just sitting at this bar. And, that really started creeping me out because I'm like, it's a truck, and you have to hit something. When I tell you, you really do have to hit something
Mhm.
hard to set this camera off. So, anyways, my boss is like, all right, well, you have a good day. Just checking in on you. If you need anything, give me a call back. So that's when I hang up the phone with him and I'm just standing there, kind of partially in front of the door and kind of turned to the side. And I'm just really confused. I'm like, and I'm looking around, I'm looking at my truck and I'm like, what would set my camera off? And I was like, and then, I kind of started putting two and two together. I'm like, well, that branch snap, maybe something, hit the truck or something, trying to come up with the something probable. So, anyways, I'm like, all right, I'm getting really creeped out. Now, mind you, the whole time this is happening, I still feel like I'm being watched. And it's like, I don't know, it's like looming dread. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just, you could feel it's like tension in a room. You could cut it with a butter knife. It was like that. So I'm like, you know what? I'm getting out of here. So I go ahead and I grab the door, lock it up, and got my hand truck and I'm rolling it up, towards the back of my truck. And then I was like, okay, I got to load the kegs. So I pull it back over to my bay and I put the empty kegs in my truck and I pull the door down. And as I told you, I have two hand trucks. I have one that carries beer and one that's made for kegs. So I have to take both of them to the back of my truck to put them, hook them up, get them secured. And that's what I did. I went to the back, and as I was putting my hand trucks on it, that's when I feel like the sense of something was there and something was watching me. It was like, you ever get that feeling like you're sitting there and you have to snap your head to one direction, like, is something there? It was like something was breathing down the back of my neck. And I was getting really creeped out. And I'm like, all right, I'm just paranoid. I'm good. So I start putting my hand trucks up and I lock them in. And I'm not going to lie, I like speed walk to my truck. Now, I get to the truck and there's these locks on both sides of the trailer that lock down the bay doors. So I went ahead and locked that back and I climbed up in my truck and I was like a kid scared, runs in his room and hides in the blanket. I got in there and shut the door really quick because something was, I don't know, something was wrong. I guess your body can sense those things and it was really bad. So um at this place, I collect a check for payment and all that stuff. So I'm printing off all the paperwork, I'm getting their check and stuff, and I'm getting all my stuff situated. And then all of a sudden, I felt my truck move. And I was just like, I just kind of stopped. Like I was stunned, just sitting there. I was like, am I feeling things or am I tripping? Like what's going on? But I literally felt my truck not like move like someone's moving my whole truck, but like a nudge, like something pushed on my truck. And I'm like, well, that's impossible because as I described to you before, the side loader truck is, like I said, about a 26-foot long trailer, but it's not, there's no part of that trailer that's made out of wood. It is solid steel and aluminum. And these roll up doors are extremely heavy. And then on top of that, you have thousands of pounds with all these kegs. And I would go out with 100 to 150 kegs on my truck. And that's not including all the packaged beer that was on my truck as well. So you're talking about a lot of weight
Mm-hmm.
in this trailer. And I felt that nudge. And I'm just like sitting there and I'm looking around and I'm like, that's weird. And sorry, this is when it gets really, really creepy. This brings back really horrible memories of this night. But as I put all my stuff down and I'm literally getting ready to leave out of here because I'm really creeped out. And I looked in my mirror and I looked in my mirror that's on the driver's side, down the left side of my truck. And at the very back of my truck, I could see something on the side of my truck, but I couldn't make out what it was. I could see something on the side of my truck, but I couldn't make out what it was. And then I guess my eyes adjusted and I kept looking and I'm like, what is that? And now that I have you on camera, I can kind of show you. So it's like you see my hand, it was like that wrapped around the back part of my truck and I could see it and I couldn't really make it out, but I was like, what is that? And I got to staring and I was like deers in a headlight. And then that's when it happened. This thing, like it pulled itself from the backside of my truck. And I think the nudge that I felt was it landing on the backside of my truck. But this thing pulls itself around the backside of my truck, and I can see like this dark silhouette. And I'm just sitting there staring at it. And I mean, I don't know, like the feelings that washed over my body at this point, I'm just like, what is that? And it was like right at that moment, its head snapped and it was looking straight at me from the back of my truck. And when I tell you that like words truly can't describe, like I wish I could take my mind and upload it into a computer so people could see what I saw. But when this thing snapped and looked at me, it was like it literally looked like a skeleton, like somebody took skin and stretched it really far apart and stuck it to something. And its eyes were like black holes, except there was like, it wasn't really, I don't know if it was a glowing light or reflective like a cat, but they literally, you could see them glowing. And this thing, as soon as it made eye contact with me, the sense of like dread, hatred, fear, like all different types of emotions, like all came over me. And I'm literally just stuck looking at this thing. Like I can't turn away and it's just staring at me. And when I tell you, like when its arm comes out, it's like if you took a person and you put them in that old torture device and you stretched a person far out, like their arms, their fingers, it was like they were anorexic, like I told you, like really, really anorexic, like they haven't eaten in like forever, like bare minimum amount of food, like in torture or something. And this thing, sorry, I'm like shaky. I don't know if you can, my hands are shaking.
It's understandable for sure.
Oh, but like I said, as this thing is looking at me, I can feel all these emotions. And this thing is, it's like pulling itself around. It's literally causing my truck to move, like my trailer. And I'm thinking, you know, I guess probably not at that moment, but after the fact, I'm like, this thing has got to be the most powerful, you know, anorexic person or creature, whatever this is that I've, you know, can even fathom in my life, you know. And I'm stuck staring at this thing. And I guess it was just for like, for a split second, I was like, I got to get out of here. And that's when I went and I grabbed the key to my ignition and I started my truck. And when I tell you, when I started my truck, the fact that I felt this thing get off of my truck and the fact that this thing was so fast that if you literally blinked your eyes, you would miss it. When I tell you, like when I cranked my truck, and I mean, I was getting the hell out of Dodge. This thing literally jumped off and ran towards the wood area so fast that it was like, that's not human. It's not possible. It's so like, I'm not saying like the Flash, but when I say like something that is so humanoid, but to be on all fours and be able to move so fast, I don't know about you, but that's absolutely horrifying because If that thing wanted me, it could have got me before I even got down the side of my truck when I was putting my hand trucks on the back. And there would be nothing I could do because it was so fast. And when I tell you, like I said, I started my truck, I seen it in the mirror, it took off, and I slammed my truck into drive. And I about took out the whole side of this bar because I was getting the hell out of there. I mean, I was absolutely horrified. And something I didn't tell you, but after that happened all day that day, it felt like I was in a daze. Like it felt like I thought I was losing my mind. I was like, did I really just see that? Like, what was that? And I told my old lady about it, and yes, she believed me, but I feel like subconsciously she's like, maybe he didn't see what he thinks he saw, you know. And I literally questioned my own reality. I have no idea what that was. All I know is it was not human. There's no way. The speed and the fact that it was so quiet for something that, like, it was quiet at first because I feel like it was stalking me because I could feel something watching me. But it's like, why did a branch break? And what set off my camera when I was inside the bar? Unless that thing wasn't like roaming around my trailer. Something it had to have done. It had to have hit my truck at some point while I was inside this establishment. And then, something else I questioned myself. It's like, how many times did I go to that place and this thing was there maybe the whole time?
What about after? I mean, what about the next week when you had to go back?
I'm not gonna lie. The next week that I went, I actually called out of work the following week on Wednesday because I was so creeped out. I didn't want to go back. And then when I did come back, the third week, I actually had our helper guy. There's a guy that goes around and helps. I actually had him meet me there. I was like, "Hey, do you mind helping me at the first half of my day? And then you go help whoever you want." Even knowing I needed help at the end of my day, I wanted someone there with me, but I didn't tell anybody what it was. But I was so paranoid and creeped out. I'm like, this thing is going to get me this time. And eventually, probably about the fourth week I went back, I was still really scared. I brought a flashlight. I actually I carried a handgun with me in my work bag, which you're not supposed to do, but I did because I was so paranoid. But that's the thing is, it was still creepy out there, but the frogs were back, the bugs were back, all of that. And then of course, I was still paranoid of the whole situation and still really scared about going out there. And I would keep the truck running. I had a flashlight. Like I said, I would be like moving as fast as my legs could move when I was there, but I didn't feel it anymore. Like I didn't get that sense of something watching me. Of course, my camera didn't get set off or anything. So it's like I don't know if it was just toying with me and it wanted to scare the holy crap out of me. And then it just vanished. So,
And I do want to so when we talked the first time, you said that they only one time in like 6 or 7 years that camera had gone off.
yeah.
And you had hit a huge pothole or whatever
Yeah.
to make it do it.
Yeah.
So
The whole time that I worked for the company, the only time I ever set the camera off is I was actually going through road work on my way back to the warehouse, and I hit my trailer wheel hit a pothole, and it set my camera off. And I've never set off the camera ever again until that night when my truck was it was parked and the engine was off. So whatever it was powerful. Because I mean, I've hit other potholes and stuff. I've went over speed bumps and stuff in the truck. And if there's any other people that drove a side loader, they know going over speed bumps was really rough in that truck because where you only have most tractor trailers, you have the two sets of dualies in the front wheel. Well, this one, you only have the one the drive tires, and then one set of dualies, and then your trailer usually only has one wheel in the very back, so it's very bouncy. But the fact that I went over them, I never set off the camera. Just that very, like I said, the one pothole I hit, and then that night at that bar, something hit my truck hard enough to set that off. And I didn't see any damage on my truck too, because later on in the day I did look over my truck, but I didn't see anything. There wasn't no scratch marks, there was no dents. So I'm not really sure, like I don't know if something came through a portal and it hit a branch and then landed on my truck. I don't know. Like I said, but
yeah, oh yeah. I look. We haven't got that far yet to talk about what the heck this could possibly be, but I think it's open to anything at this point. Yeah. So okay, so that would be terrifying enough if that's where this story ended. Okay.
Yeah.
So I want you to share. So you kind of got used to going back to work. Nothing happened. Or nothing else happened. So then tell me, what, year and a half, 2 years later?
Yep.
What describe then what you experienced?
So I left that company because I got injured and I didn't want to injure myself anymore because I do have kids. So I was like, I'm gonna take a different position at a different company, and that's what I did. And this was probably about 2 years after the incident that I had at work. And just so happens, close to this location, I live. Unfortunately, I live probably about 10 to 12 minutes away from this establishment. And now, mind you, I was working at this place for about 6 months and was taking the back roads from where I live actually down to where this bar is located at to take the back roads to my workplace. And me and my wife both did it. We go down the same road and no issues. But yeah, I guess it's when maybe you start to forget, or you kind of like, I don't know, you just kind of over it, and then that's when it decides it's going to be like, hey, you remember me? I'm back. So one morning, as I always did, I was just going to work, and I got my coffee. I'm just kind of hanging out, just going to work in the morning. And I'm coming up, and then right before where this bar is, there's a overpass you got to go underneath. And I went underneath that, and I went up a little bit further, and all these deer running out in front of my truck. And I like slamming on our brakes because there wasn't like one or two. I'm talking about quite a few of them came out in front of my truck, and I like slammed on my brakes pretty hard because I didn't want to hit any of the deer. And I was barely going. I was kind of crawling to make sure there wasn't more deer going to come out in front of me. And then right up, I'm bad with distance. It was a good distance away, but it was close enough to where I could make out what I could see. There were two other deer that came out that were relatively big deer. One of them was a buck, the other one was a female, but they were pretty good sized deer. And they came out, but they were like really hauling butt, like they were scared, and it was very. And then that's when my story turns back into a nightmare again, because right up in front of me there's this guardrail, and I didn't see it at first, but then I did, and I seen that thing. Now, mind you, I didn't tell this before, but this thing does have very pale or gray skin. I don't know how to explain it, but you can make out that feature of it. This thing comes over the guardrail, as I kind of described you, like a lizard. Like it came up over the top and climbed down, and it was so low to the ground. It was like a spider, like literally it was so low to the ground. This thing went across this road so fast towards those deer. And I'm just sitting there like I'm literally an autopilot. My truck is rolling. Like I'm not hitting the brake, I'm not hitting the gas. I'm just staring at this thing yet again. And this thing goes flying across the road in the same area where these deers went. And there's like this embankment. And this thing went down this embankment. And all I hear is this like ruckus. And then I see debris. And I don't know, I could be wrong, but I swear I've seen like, because there's a hill, it goes down. And I'm way over here on this side of the road. And I swear this thing, I swear I seen deer legs go up to where it looked like this thing grabbed this deer like a rag doll and like body slammed it into the ground. And I could hear these strange noises. I don't know if it was the deer or if it was that thing. And I don't know. But I was sitting there just staring off into space. Like literally, I'm now at this point, I'm like parallel to it on my driver's side. And I'm just staring and my truck's just rolling. And I'm like in, I don't know, deers in a headlight the same way it was before. And I'm just sitting there and I'm just like, was it that thing again? And then it's like all the memories of what happened to me before and then all over me again. And I got to work, I got out of there. I got to work and I literally sat in my truck, very upset, the same way I was the last time, like freaked out. I was shaking. I was like, what is this? Why does this thing keep showing itself? Like literally, I'm talking about like I would say probably about 2.5 years later, this thing decided to show back up and literally in the same proximity of where this bar is. And I got to work and I called my wife and I was like, I seen it again. And she's like, what? And I was like, that monster, that creature. And she's like, oh my God, again? And I was like, yeah, it like shot in front of me like a bullet. And let me describe this too. When I say it was like a spider, this thing, it literally has like hands and feet like a human. But the way it went across the road, it was like low to the ground. Its head, you could barely see. It's like it tucked its head in or something. And it just moved so fast that it's not normal. It's like something supernatural or some type of cryptid or some type of entity. I don't know, but I was extremely upset and I was just in shock again. It was like ripping a band-aid off an old wound all over again. And I was in the same predicament I was in the first day. I was questioning my own reality. I'm like, am I seeing this? Am I losing my mind? Is this some type of, is it evil? You know, all kinds of thoughts were going through my head. And yeah, that was my second run in of 7.
Second of 7. Holy
Of
moly.
7.
So, holy smokes. Now, this second time that it ran across, did you get any indication that it recognized that it was you?
Oh,
Like,
yes. I completely forgot that yeah. As I was going by, like I said, deer's in a headlight. After I heard this noise, I don't know if it was like it killing this deer, or if that was the noises it made. But mind you, over this hill, there's an embankment. I mean, it's not super far down, but it's not like something I could go down that embankment, stand up, and you'd be able to see me. But this thing stood up, or I don't even know, it poked its head up or something, but I could see it. And it literally made direct eye contact with me again, like direct eye contact. And mind you, over this hill, it's a good ways down this like embankment down into the woods. And this thing just effortlessly just stood up, snapped its head, and looked straight at me. And then that's when I got out of there. I'm sorry I forgot about that. I don't know how I forgot about that, but yeah, that's why I got out of there as fast as I did, because at first, yeah, I seen it, but it didn't see me. But yeah, it turns out it that's the thing too, is like I talked to my wife about this. I was like, it's like, is it doing it purposely? It's like it didn't have to turn around and look at me. I mean, it was hunting the deer or something, but it just wanted to. It'd be like, oh yeah, you see me, I see you, type deal. But yeah, you can continue.
Holy, well,
Oh,
it makes you wonder, like, because I know you had said you had your window down as you were driving, and it's like, did
yep.
it get your scent? Because if this has superhuman abilities, which it obviously does, if it's you know stronger, quicker, faster, can do,
Oh man, this thing,
you
when I
know,
tell you, if it's like I said, it's dark out, but it when I seen debris fly up, and it literally did from down this hill, it looked like this thing picked the deer up and like threw it up. Like, I'm not saying threw it in the air, but it's like maybe like how a lion runs up and grabs a gazelle,
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
snaps it and just body slams it. That's what I saw. And then the noises that I heard, I don't know if this thing was gorgling, like it got bit in the throat or something. I don't know, but it was a very unsettling sounds that I could hear. And yes, my window was down. And like I said, I wasn't driving fast. I
Hmm.
was literally just, as if you put your truck in neutral, is literally where I was at, because I was just stunned again that this thing decided it's going to show itself again to me.
The other thing that is kind of crazy, not that all this isn't crazy, okay,
Yeah.
is that people have described many, many times in their Bigfoot or Sasquatch encounters of those creatures doing a spider crawl like you described.
Oh.
I mean, have you never heard that being?
No, I have not. I haven't heard that.
And they said, and it's the same thing. Like, it distorts itself flat, and it's almost like walking on its fingers and
Yeah, like
toes.
have
Yeah,
you ever seen in like the comical old
yeah,
school
yeah.
like cartoons when the bad guys crawling? That's literally like, I don't
Hmm.
even know how it's possible that this thing first up is moving like that, but let alone at the speed. It's like, I don't even know, like exorcist level creepy. Like,
Hmm.
and it's the other thing too is when it's in that spider position, in which I will get to this other story. But when my wife unfortunately had her encounter, she thought it was decapitated, because to where its
Really?
head was tucked in
Yeah.
and it come across and she saw it, she thought it didn't have no head. But
And that is how people describe Bigfoot when it does it. Like, it sinks its head in, and it's like it looks so unnatural.
yeah,
It looks super unnatural, which is, it's weird that this thing would do that, and people have reported a Bigfoot doing that, because I mean, I questioned you. This is not a Bigfoot unless it's a Bigfoot who's got mange and
he's on a diet.
yeah, yeah. I've never heard of a Bigfoot creature that looked like this, which, to say, isn't some crazy way. Maybe it is something like that.
I like I said, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Like, I like I said, I wish that you had like a way to upload your memory into something so people could go and press play on my memory and they could see what my eyes saw.
I gotta be honest. I don't know that we're too far away from that.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's the creepy thing.
Yeah. So, okay. So now you've had this second encounter. It's essentially back, or
Yeah,
it realizes, hey, I had a lot of fun messing with this dude. Maybe I'm going to mess with him some more.
yep.
So, okay. So what happened next?
Okay, so my wife knew about this whole situation and everything else. Well, um, nothing really happened for a little while. And, I was thankful for that. Well, this is not my encounter. This is my wife thought, well, we're not 100% sure, but this is what she told me. Um, Sometimes she works second shift, and sometimes, well, she works first and second shifts. Well, this particular morning, she was working first shift, and she was going in very early in the morning. And just so happens she was going down that same stretch of road, and she said that when, like, all right, so when you go down this road, now I didn't tell you this because you wanted me to tell you in the actual podcast here. So on this stretch of road, if you go down past where that bar is, there's a large curve. Well, right before that curve, to the left, there's a big wooded area with this big steep hill, and there's a camper that's in the woods. No idea who it belongs to. It's been sitting there for a long time. It's very creepy. And on the opposite side of the road is this where the I'm not sure, like a shooting range or something, but it's like privately owned. But then back behind that is this huge solar farm area. And she said when she was coming up and getting ready to go through this curve, she thought for a second she's seen something on the side of the road. And then as she was getting ready to go through that curve, she said she saw something go scurrying across the road like I saw. She said it looked like a person on all fours, except they were like a spider going across the thing. And she's like, and it didn't have no head. And I was like, dude, what? And then all my memories come back to like, oh my God. And she's like, I didn't want to tell you because I didn't know what I saw. And I was like, oh God, I'm thinking now she's seeing it. So after that whole ordeal, me and her talked about it. We're trying to figure out what it was. She was really creeped out by it. And, then it was total radio silent. We didn't hear anything, didn't see anything until a night that the kids were already in the bed. And this is at my home. We were actually sitting outside on my back porch, and we're just drinking coffee and just talking, just trying to get a little bit of, I guess you say mom and dad time, to woo-saw. And we're sitting out there, and on this particular night, it was really, really dark, like really dark. And we both noticed that too, because as we were sitting there talking, we're like, it is really dark out here tonight. I mean, even knowing the moon was out, but it was still very dark. And we're just sitting there, and my old lady's like, did you hear that? And I was like, what? And I sat there, and we both sat there in complete silence on the back porch. And all of a sudden you could hear something like, now I'll give you a good idea. In my backyard, my back porch is, let's say it's right here. Then I have this huge open yard in the back, but kind of like parallel is the woods all across. And if you go back good ways, the woods go around this way. But I have a pretty good open area, but it's really dark back there. And we're sitting there, and it sounds like there's something going through the woods. So I didn't have my flashlight on me at the time, so I pulled up my phone and I cut on the flashlight, and I cut it on as bright as I could. And I'm, hanging off the back porch like this with the light. And I'm like, I don't see anything. And then we both felt it. That like paranoid, like you're starting to get creeped out. Like we both started feeling it simultaneously. And she's like, I'm just getting really creeped out. She's like, what was that? So we both stood up, and we're both like up against the railing of her back porch. And all of a sudden we see something move, and it's in the dark, but you could see a silhouette of something moving through the backyard. and I was like, oh my God, what is that? And as soon as I said that, it looked up, and it was the same black humanoid silhouette, but this time I could really make out how big this thing really was. I couldn't see any real features, but I could see it. And when I tell you, it made direct eye contact with me and my wife, glowing eyes and everything, and it's just sitting there. And at first, it's really low down to the ground. And I was like, is that a cat? That was my first initial thought. And I was like, wait a second, a cat's head's small. The eyes are, eyes are spread far apart. And I was like, that's not a cat. And she's like, what am I looking at? And when she said that, that's when this thing moved. But like, this is what I wanted to tell you. When this thing moved, it was like it jerked up and then moved another way. It was like the most creepiest. Oh, like this is probably the most weirded out I've been of this whole story, everything I've been through. The way this thing's body moved was not natural at all. When I tell you, it was like I couldn't hear bones crunching and breaking, but that's what you would think in your head if you seen the way this thing moved. Like I said, it was really low down to the ground and it snapped its head up and we could see eyes. That's why we thought it was a cat. But then as we're sitting there looking at it, that's when, like I said, it snapped up like one way, then snapped a different, and it's just sitting there. And it's got his eyes directly on both of us, but its head's like kind of tilted like this, like a dog. You do something funny with a dog and it turns its head.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just staring at us. But then as it's staring, I could see its arms. Its arms were like here, and then one would go down to the side, and it would start swaying just back and forth. And I'm just like, both of us are just dazed. Like we're talking to each other, but we're like, what is that? And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go get a gun and I'm going to find out what this is. And she's like, I'm like, just walk backwards, but don't stop. Don't leave your eyes from it. Just keep looking at it. So we're backing up, and mind you, like, okay, this is my back porch. We're probably about the middle of it. And then I have a door over here to the other way. It goes to my game room. And then my door's over on this side. So we're backing up kind of at an angle, but we can still see this thing. And this thing, as we're backing up, that's when it did something that was beyond supernatural. The eyes would blink and it would pop up way over here. And then the eyes were over here looking at us. And it blinked again, and then it was on over next to a tree, and that's when we could see it peeking around the tree at us. But it was like you heard no sound, but it would blink. Like it's literally its glowing eyes would be there, and it would close, and it would be in a whole different spot. And then that's when we both got to the door, and I opened it, and I said, go in there and grab my shotgun. So she ran inside. I'm still watching this thing. She comes outside, I grab it, and I did like the whole Arnold Schwarzenegger. I just chunked it like that. But as I did this, all I seen, I didn't see glowing eyes, but I seen this weird, like, I don't know if it was just moving so fast, but it was like this shadow straight back into the woods, no sound whatsoever. No idea what in the world, how it could do that. I have no idea. But I know for a fact it was the same thing, because I know this is going to sound crazy, but it's like I could sense that it was the same creature. Like I could tell. Even my wife said the same thing. She's like, that's the same thing I seen on the side of the road to come out in front of me. And that was, I wish my wife would have never seen this, but it helped me mentally and physically, that now I know that I'm not tripping, I'm not going crazy, because she's seen it with me simultaneously, and we both seen the same thing. And when I tell you, when I ran down in the yard, I might have been dumb, but I did. I ran down in that yard with that shotgun, and it is a tactical shotgun. So I ran down there. It has a flashlight on it. I ran down there, and I was looking everywhere. And I was scared when I went down there, but I was like, I'm the man in the house. I got kids here. I got to do what I have to do. But I didn't hear anything. That sense of like dread was gone. It was like as if somebody like lifted the weight of the world off you for a second after, somebody dropped a whole boulder on top of you. But it was like someone just snapped a finger and all of it was gone. And one more thing that I left out is like it was same thing. It was completely dead silent. But once, I've seen that weird shadow or it moving so fast, it was like somebody literally turning a light switch. You could hear the crickets, the cicadas, the frog. Like I don't even know how to explain. And then all of a sudden there was a breeze. But remember how I told you it was really dark? Then all of a sudden our backyard just kind of the moon lit it up to where you could see all the way to the tree line, like not clear as day, but you could see it perfectly fine. And me and my old lady are just sitting there like, I mean, literally, we went inside.
That is super weird. Like
it created its own darkness.
Yeah, like depressed the area.
Yeah, like
made it devoid of sound and light.
Goosebumps right now all over me because it's literally what happened. It was, and my wife, you could even ask her same thing. It was like it was so dark to where you couldn't see a couple feet in front of you, and then once that thing took off and left, it was like it just. I don't know. I don't know. It's like something that happens in like a movie or something where it's like death and decay, and then they do something and it brings life back to it. That's literally what happened. And that night, I had to work the next day. I was up so late. I went to work so tired the next day because we were up looking stuff up. We kept hearing noises. And when I tell you, I know for a fact that after we came inside, we heard stuff moving around on our back porch. Like something was coming up the stairs, like we could hear something like footsteps, and I'd jump up and I'd kick the light on and go out the door and there'd be nothing there. But we both kept hearing it. Like it literally kept, like we were creeped out all night. She hardly got any sleep. I hardly got any sleep. We were looking up stuff on YouTube and on all different other, the internet and everything else, being like, what is this? What did we experience? And as we're sitting there talking among each other, all of a sudden we'd hear boom, crash, some noise outside, just out of nowhere. And yeah, that was my experience that I had with my wife, that me and her had literally simultaneously. Like I said, I wish she wouldn't have seen it, but it definitely helped me, I guess you could say, cope with, not knowing that I was alone.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you give me a great outlet here too. So I do want to tell you thank you, because I have not told anybody the story besides her. I wanted to tell my mom, but I just never did because I don't know. It does sound crazy. It truly does. And it's not that I don't love my mom, and I have buddies and stuff too, but it's just like, I don't know. I guess some things are better left not to be told, but you giving people an outlet to be able to tell these things. And when I tell you, I'm not here to get attention. I'm not here to any of that. I reached out to you because a buddy of mine told me about your channel and stuff. And I just wanted to, I don't know, try to get some clarity if anybody else, of course, had any type of experience like this, or I don't know what it is, but there's more encounters.
Well, first of all, I appreciate that you would feel comfortable enough to come on and tell me, tell me about these experiences, because I know it's super important. I mean, I talk to lots of people who have never told their experience to anybody until they tell it to us, and it's like, we really appreciate that and feel, respectful towards your journey, and it's not just having the experience it's just the beginning of the journey. Trying to find answers is the rest of it. And the only way I know, because I don't know, I can give you some ideas based on you know, I'm not even going to call it research. Okay. My research is talking to people and
Yeah.
hearing so many different experiences and talking to some of the other friends that I have that talk to other people. It just kind of maybe give you ideas to look for. The real journey is the is you telling this to the community that gets on here and listens. And because they're just like you, either they've had an experience and they're searching for answers and they want to know that they're not crazy, you know,
Yeah.
and and for you to come on and tell a story that I have not heard, okay, 100%, I have not heard a story like this. I mean, that I can't even put a name or
I,
even, yeah, I
I
mean,
don't I don't know. Well, like I told you, the way that it looks, the way that it moves, I looked up the North Carolina pale crawlers. It does resemble that, like the rake. It does resemble that, but then there's other things. It's like the way, like I said, in the backyard where it was jerky, and then the way it swayed. And the best way I could describe that, it was like it was swaying back and forth, like a praying mantis does right before,
mm,
like when it's hunting, when it's getting ready to strike. That's what it looked like to me because my son actually has a pet praying mantis, and that's the way this thing would do it. It would stand in its cage and it would bob back and forth and wait and freeze and then attack. And I don't know if that was like some type of a
mm,
intimidation stance, like he was trying to intimidate us, or it was just toying with us. I don't know, but I don't know. It literally looks like a skeleton that's like anorexic, very lanky, like really long arms. And like when I tell you, when it stood up in the yard and it was like at that angle, and it wasn't fully stood up, it was kind of at an angle. Like I said, this thing was massive. It had to be at least 7, 8 foot tall. I mean, I don't even know if it was fully stood up. I don't know, but
mm.
because it would look all distorted. But this thing is, like I said, really long, like hands, feet, the torso, and the head it looks just like a human head. It does. It may be a little bit bigger, but it literally looks like a human head. But someone's like sucked all the nutrients out of this thing. It's like my old lady come up with a good idea. Have you ever seen that movie Warm Bodies?
No, I've no, I
It's
know.
a zombie movie called Warm Bodies. Well, zombies are like they're good in that movie, but if you get to this one point, you become these other things. I forget what they call it. But my old lady showed me a picture. You have to look it up sometime.
I'll make a note of that.
But it literally, she said, and then when I actually looked it up and I seen it, I was like, wow, that does. It's like a humanoid person, except they're really skinny. Their face, like you can see all the bones in their face, like skin stretched around it. But they have like dark circles for their eyes, like it's all sunk in and just really creepy looking. Like that was a good, find of hers when she was looking up stuff. She's like, that's what it kind of looks like. Not, perfectly, but it's a good idea. Like something that somewhat resembles what we both saw. And the crazy thing is when she was telling me, what she saw, yeah, it was horrifying, but at the same time, it was like, I'm not crazy. I'm
Mm-hmm.
literally someone else saw at real time with me right beside me. And it's a good thing and also a bad thing because I wouldn't wish not even my worst enemy to see what I saw. And I know I'm sure people are like, oh, I want to go see Bigfoot or Dog Man or no, you really don't. And when I say it does affect you, every day that I go outside to start my truck in the mornings because I go to work really early still, I literally am like a kid. When I cut my light off in my room, I dart for the bed, jump in there, and throw sheets over my head. That's the way I am with my truck. I literally run out there, start my truck, run back inside. Like I'm still creeped out, and I'm a grown man, and yeah, I'm still it still terrifies me
Mm.
because it's like, is it there? And it's like this thing can make noise if it wants to, but it's already proved to me that it can move with total silence.
Now, you when we were talking the other day, you had a very interesting, just spitballing, trying to figure out what this thing could be. Was the whole maybe this area is an area where the veil is thin,
Yeah.
and maybe that and this was so unique that that you and this creature are experiencing each other the same way, where he can see you and you can see it, but you can't really make contact with each other. Like you're seeing,
it's like the way I thought about it, and a buddy of mine, he looks up stuff like this too. I've never told him my actual story. He'll know now because I'm going to be on your show. But something I thought about, it's like where people see these things like Bigfoot, Dogman. Well, what if there's like the veil is thin in a certain area, and like this creature that I seen, what if the veil was very thin to where I'm seeing this thing for the first time, but it's also seeing me for the first time. And it's like this thing, if it wanted me, it could have had me. It literally could have got on top of me in a millisecond, and I would have been sucked into the woods, and I would have been one of the missing 411 people. I mean, no offense to anyone that's lost somebody like that. I'm just using it for an example. But what if the reason that a lot of people don't see these things and why some people do is because of that veil? The veil just randomly, there might be a small tear somewhere, and then that's when you happen to see something that's supernatural like that. And like I said, the reason it doesn't come after you, because it can't. It's like it can see you and you can see him, but you can't cross over. Like I can't get to him and he can't get to me, but I can see him and he can see me. And maybe that's how, like I said, the way that it moves, like I said, where it ran so fast, it's like, well, what if that's like the veil is on a different, I don't know, gravity or something to where something can move unnaturally like that. I don't know. But it was just a theory I was thinking because, so many people, I've listened to your show about people that have seen dogmen and other creatures. And it's like, well, why do we get to live to tell the tale? It's like, well, what if these things can't actually get you? Like they feed off of your fear. Maybe that's like, I don't know, an energy source for them to be able to cross over. I don't know. But it's this thing. I don't get any good vibes from it. It's all like very dark, gloomy, dread. So it's like if this thing could hit my truck and shake it, I can only imagine what it could do to me. I literally watched what it could do to a deer, and deer is a whole lot heavier than me. But yet, why does it not come after me? Even though it showed itself to me multiple times, why doesn't it attack me? Of course I don't want it to, but I don't understand. And that's like, you hear all these stories that, oh, I've seen Bigfoot, but then this person didn't see anything. But this person swears up and down what they saw. And it's like, well, maybe you couldn't see through the veil like this other person could. Like I said, I don't know. I'm spitballing it because I don't understand, but I want to understand because what happened to me, I don't know what that thing could be. I have no, there's somebody like you said, maybe a ghoul or the alien or some type of unknown cryptid, or I don't know, maybe some just unnatural creature that lives in this area. I have no idea. I mean, I do live.
Maybe it's the dude that lives in that camper. That's what, when you told me that camper you're past, I'm like, wow. Now that is
Yeah, now that is really creepy. Like me and
yeah.
my old lady, we were talking about that too. But see, there ain't no way this thing's human. There's no way. If a person can move like that, yeah, I don't want nothing to do with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, but on this road there's a really big RV camper. And I'm not talking about a small one, I'm a really big one. And it literally is when you go down this road, it's on the left and it's up this hill and there's this giant branch they have blocking the road there and it's got no trespassing signs everywhere up, which is just very strange to me because I've lived here for a long time. I've never seen a camper move once. Never once. And it's
Mm.
blocking up the road that goes up this steep hill. I don't know if there's a house up there or what's up there, but this whole area close to where this bar is really creepy because, like I said, there is a place, and I'm pretty sure it is the sheriff's department, police, because I've seen unmarked cars there, and I've seen sheriff cars there, and I don't know if that's like their. It might be where they go train people for concealed weapon permit. I don't know, but I know it's like a one of those bars, like a fence. It's got kind of like
Yeah.
triangles that go together.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
blocked up. It's got no trespassing signs up, and then right across the road on that hill is that strange camper. I don't know. And then back behind that area, like if you are standing in front of that gate to the whatever that area is used for the police, there's a huge solar farm that's back way up there. I don't even know how you get to that place. I have no idea, but it's back there. You can see it. Well, like especially during wintertime when the vegetation's dead, you
Hmm.
can see way back there. That's the only reason I know it's there. So I don't know if that has something to do with it or. And one more thing before we move on, my old lady had an idea. She's like, it was at the bar, there's water. And she's like, what if this thing's like attracted to water? Like, could it have been someone that died in the water and like came back as this creature thing? I don't know.
Mm.
We were just kind of spitballing ideas because we don't understand. We don't know what it is. We have no idea. But yeah, and we've had more encounters than even more than that from, well, I'll just, there's so much and it, it calms down for a while and then randomly something will happen.
So what else has been happening then? Like, are you guys just seeing it while you're driving, or is it making itself known on the
Um,
property, or what?
yeah, it's happened a lot on the property. Once, usually it's Mondays. My wife works second shift, and I'm at home. And usually, when all the kids are awake and all that, and the house is kind of chaos and all that, nothing happens. But sometimes after I get all the kids ready for bed and all that stuff, and I'll be sitting on the couch and just kind of woosawing before I gotta get to take a shower and all that stuff. There's been multiple times where I'll hear something on our back porch, um, roaming around or something, or I'll randomly there'll be a knock at the door on my back door, and you can hear it clear as day. It'll just be, and I'm just, what was that? And it's happened with my old lady here too. She's heard it before too. Just randomly a slight knock. The last time one of the times that really creeped me out, I was sitting on the couch with my little girl, and I'm sure everybody knows this noise when your door's locked, but someone jiggles your doorknob.
Hmm.
I heard it clear as day at my back door, and you could literally see my doorknob move. You could see it. And I jumped up and I unlocked the door and ran out. There's nothing there. So how is that normal? And you can literally, we have heard footsteps. Me and my old lady have been in the kitchen before, and there's a window in our kitchen that goes on to where you can look out on our back deck, our thing, and we'll be sitting there just cooking or doing dishes, and then all of a sudden you'll see a shadow pass by, and we'll snap our head and look. There's nothing there. And there's been multiple times. The last time, probably my most recent encounter, one I told you about. I was actually going out to start my truck, and I have right over here in my front. My house is here, and then we park our cars over here. I have a little shed right there, and I went outside, and I thought I heard something moving in the brush, and you know, like aluminum, like because this little tiny garage we keep lawnmowers in. You put pressure on it, makes that metal popping sound.
Yeah.
Well, I was getting ready to get in my truck to start it, and all of a sudden I heard that, and I just kind of stopped for a second, and I got back out of my truck, and I was like, "What was that?" And it sounded like metal. And yeah, just for a brief second, I, kind of lean over like this, and bam, right behind the thing, I see two glowing eyes looking at me, and I just dart back inside. Um, and like I told you, I'm not for sure yet, but I'm gonna get that over to you. But I'm about 99% positive that my wife, we've been recording ourselves driving to work on this same road. And I'm 99% positive she has a clip of this thing. Um, I watched it multiple times, and you can literally see there's something in the road, and then off to the left, you can see a silhouette of a humanoid type something, and then it goes like on all fours, disappears, and then pops up right on the side of the road. And you can see glowing eyes looking directly at her.
Yeah, and if you get that to me, we'll put that up right in here.
Yeah.
And I have not seen it, so I can't comment at this point.
Yeah.
At this
Like
point,
I said,
but we'll let everybody look at it and see what they think.
But then the one thing I didn't tell you,
Oh boy. Okay.
I am not for sure, but I believe I actually have a clip of this too. And this is actually further up the road from where it normally is, but this was right in front of somebody's yard. I was on my way to work, and when I was going up the road, I was recording, and I was holding my cell phone up trying to catch this thing because me and my old lady both were like, you know what, we're going to record because we're going to catch this thing on camera because we keep seeing it so much. And as I'm going down the road, and you can hear me in the audio, I'm talking to myself as I'm recording this, being like, this is day 1, day 2, and I don't know what day this is, but I'm recording. And when I go up and I go around this curve, you'll see this mass come out right in between these trees, and it stands up. And you can see a silhouette of a mass. And this is at 3 o'clock in the morning. So unless some person's randomly running through their yard and just happens to stand right there where I can see it at that particular time perfectly, I don't think so. But you'll see it. I'll get that one to you as well.
Right.
Maybe your person can clear it up. But like I said, I have no idea what it is, but I'm scared about my kids. I don't let them go outside alone.
Yeah, I blame you.
I'm not gonna say we're moving away. I am a believer in God. I have rebuked this thing, and since, like I told you, besides what my wife seen the other day, we have not seen it at our house for a little while since, because I prayed, and I was like, I rebuke you in the name of the Lord. You're not welcome here. I haven't seen it at the house besides that time with my car, which was recent, but it's like I don't think it likes that. That's the reason I feel like it's something. I don't know if it's supernatural or if it's some unknown cryptid. I don't know, but I do know that when I rebuked it the first time, I didn't see it for a good while. Even my old lady were like, maybe that worked. But unfortunately, I guess it likes to rear its ugly head back up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you have any questions, man, but that's my story. I've seen this thing multiple times. Like I said, I've heard noises, and that's another thing too. I don't know if I told you this, but we do have a trash can outside, and we have a big family, so we build up trash pretty quick, and we don't have a garbage truck, so we have to take our stuff to the dump. Well, for a long, long time, possums and raccoons used to get in our trash. They used to tear up our trash, knock our trash
Hmm.
can over. But ever since this thing started showing up at the house, we have not seen no possums, no raccoons. And I can least, like, sometimes I would forget a trash bag. My wife would put it on the porch and I'd forget about it. And, raccoons and stuff, they tear it to pieces, getting into it. You can leave a trash bag out there right now, it won't be touched. But we have had trash bags randomly be put in different places. Like, for instance, she left a trash bag on the porch, and when I got up in the morning going to work, that same trash bag was dead center of our walkway coming into our, going up our steps into our front door. And I'm like, I thought she did that purposely so I wouldn't forget about the trash. But when I asked her about it, she's like, I didn't do that. And I've noticed that our trash can will get knocked over and there'll be trash bags out, but none of them are tore up. What animal that you know of is going to knock over a trash can but not get into the trash?
Even a human wouldn't do that. A
Exactly.
human would at least open the bags up, and you know what I'm saying. So
Yeah. But
it's almost like it's messing with you.
yeah. And like before, literally, I have walked outside and I have seen raccoons in my trash can, possums. And I've had a possum on my front porch that scared the crap out of me,
Mm.
a while back when I went outside and, you not expecting it when you're half asleep
Oh
going out
yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
the truck and all of a sudden there's a possum right there. But there's none of that. Like,
Mm.
there's literally no raccoons, no possums anymore. And it's just a little thing that me and my old lady have noticed. We're just like, well, what happened to the possums and raccoons? Because they were really bad before. So I don't know if this thing has scared them off because it's more of an apex predator, or if it's eaten them, or it's killed them. I don't know. But
Mm.
we used to have trash tore up all the time, and I mean, it used to irritate the crap out of me to the point where I told you I had to put bungee cords over my trash can. But
Hmm.
now I can leave a trash bag out there right now, it not be touched. It might get moved, but it won't be, tore to shreds. And
That's
that to
crazy.
me, that to me is very bizarre because you go from having these wild animals to none. And I did tell you we did have one of our cats that disappeared a while back. I don't know if it coincides with this thing. We do have another cat, and we do notice that sometimes our cat, I didn't tell you this either, but sometimes our cat, he'll go outside for a while and he'll come back and he'll be really, I don't know, kind of nervous, kind of act strange. Even my old lady's like, is our cat okay? Because he just seems like he's acting off. Or and then sometimes he won't even go outside. You open the door. Normally, before he would all the time want to go outside, constantly. And then sometimes he'll just go outside and literally sit on the porch or lay down on the porch and then come right back inside. That's not like normal, at least not our normal cat's behavior.
Hmm.
Normally he goes out the door and he's gone. You'll see him like later on in the evening. Not so much anymore.
Mm.
So again, I don't know if that coincides, if he can sense, something that we can't sense.
Yeah,
But
I think that's pretty intuitive for you to pick up on that because you know what your animals do, and
yeah, I
cats
mean,
are super um, in tune with what's going on. You
yep,
know, that's for sure. And I don't even know what to. I mean, you've done such a good job of describing this thing and explaining your story because I'm stumped at what this is. I mean, there's all kind, like you said, we have all kinds of theories or just trying to throw something to the wall and see if it sticks. But I think the really important thing is I want to hear what other people have to say. Like I want to hear
yeah,
other
yeah.
people who have had similar experiences, and I do think your location, at the foothills or whatever the Appalachian Mountains there,
Yep.
has it could very possibly have something to do with it. I mean, And everybody that listens from that area is going to be like, I knew, they're going to say that because
Yeah.
there's so many crazy things that happen in that area. But I've got nothing. The
I don't
best,
know.
the best idea I think I had was that it was what if it was an alien who crashed like
Yeah.
10
Yeah.
years ago and's been living off the land, and he's trying to get you to help him and you just won't help him. Like
Yeah. I mean,
you're not
that's
very hospitable. How dare you?
well, when something, creeps out from the back of your truck,
Well,
and
he doesn't know. He's just, that's what they do.
it don't matter. When I tell you, it's just that right there, just thinking about that moment of
Mhm.
when I see this thing pull itself around my truck and how it snapped its head so fast. And I'm literally looking in a mirror at this thing while it's staring at me. And it's like it was burning a hole through me.
Mm.
And the amount of all the feelings like fear and I gotta run, I gotta get out of here. Like just so, it was so, I don't even know, it's so powerful. It's like, if that was a person, there's no way a person's putting off their, like you'd have to have like someone have to have a gun put on you for you to feel all those different, the
Oh
fear of,
yeah, yeah.
danger or death or something like that. But it was like just looking at this thing, the amount of, like I said, it felt like somebody dumped like a mountain on top of me. And it was just
Mhm.
dread and I don't, ugh.
Because I think a natural human reaction would be at first, yeah, to be like feel all those emotions, like what the heck, and your heart rate. But a lot of times you kind of you pull yourself together and you come to be like, the heck is that? Who's messing around in the back of my truck? Like, you don't keep that sense of fear once the initial shock wears off.
Yeah.
And it really does take something. I mean, it takes a massive event to keep you in that state. I mean, I think, um, at least in my viewpoint, it has to be something that is truly not natural. And I think by the way
Mhm.
you've described the way it moves,
Oh,
it's not natural. It's not
no,
natural.
no. When I tell you, man, the way that this thing moved, the way it scurried across the roads and stuff, like I said, the way my wife said it looked like it had no head, and it really does. Like even the time it come across the road with after them deers, it's like it's I don't know, like a turtle, like its head's
Hmm.
like leveled with its body. It's like a human couldn't do that to be able to keep its head, tucked down, but to be like it literally looks like it has no head. And the same thing my old lady said, and the way it went across the road so fast. And it's like, if that thing wanted me, the fact that it moved my truck the way it did, it could have ripped the door right off my truck and pulled me out without any hesitation.
One hundred
Because when
percent.
I tell you that trailer, I could hit my trailer as hard as I could, and I wouldn't budge. I'm a pretty stout guy. I'm not little, but I would just hit it and I would just bounce off it and probably bust my butt. I mean, to be
Hmm.
honest. But
Yeah.
this thing is just like just effortlessly just touching my truck and I can feel it moving like just, not like somebody's dragging it, moving it, but you could feel um
Yeah. The weight of it.
yeah, the weight of it. It's
Yeah.
shifting this truck that literally weighs or this trailer that's literally weighs thousands of pounds, but
Hmm.
yet effortlessly, like it's nothing. I can only imagine the force that this thing has, but then it's like, how does something that looks like that have such speed and strength like that? That's something that really creeps me out about too. Because like I said, it literally looks like a skeleton, like
Hmm.
something with skin stretched around bone, and really like it. I don't even know. I don't know how to explain it. Like that's why I'm
Hmm.
so confused about it. Like, how does something that looked like that have so much speed? And the way it was moving in our backyard, it literally, if that was not teleporting, I don't know what it. Well, I don't know what it is, because how does something look at you, blink, and then pop up way over here?
I got nothing.
I don't either.
Like, unless, and I hope, like, when you're telling me that, I was like, man, I hope it's not more than one.
Well, yeah, that's what I thought, but no, you like it. When I tell you, it was like I could sense that it was the same thing. I don't know how to explain that. It was like I don't know, subconsciously or I don't know how to explain it, but it's like I
Hmm.
knew the moment I seen it in the backyard, it was the same thing. Even my old lady said the same thing. She's like, "That's the same thing that I seen run out in front of me on the road."
Hmm.
So, like I said, I'm lost for words. That's my story. I I don't know what it is.
Well, let's hope that let's hope that we get some answers, because I'm hoping this is one story that I hope people from the area are listening. And I guess if you're listening from the Mount area, be careful out there while you're driving. And number two, if
No
you've
kidding.
seen something like this, get a hold of us. And if anybody across the country or the world who's listening um, has experienced anything like this, I want to hear from you, because Drew wants some answers. So do I. I mean,
Yeah.
I gotta be honest, I'm not willing to go and stake out that bar to try to
No.
to try to have an experience, but I feel for you. I feel for your wife, and I know what it's like to want to protect your kids. So just be safe. Keep your head on a swivel,
Oh,
and
I do. I trust in God, and
mm-hmm, yep, yep.
that's what I do. And like I said, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it just, there's so many like Indian, folklore and all this other stuff about cryptids, or I don't know. I mean, we thought it was a Wendigo, the pale crawler, the rake. I mean, so many different things. But like I said, I have firepower. I really don't think any type of weapon's going to hurt this thing. I don't even think you'd be able to hit it. But I'm just gonna hopefully this thing will leave us alone. I don't know. Um, but I keep rebuke it in the name of the Lord, so I'm hoping that'll make it go away. And I guess it's like I want it to go away, but then it's like I want to know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I don't know. It's like the curiosity, and I get curiosity killed the cat, but it's at the same time, it's like, why is it? This is something I wanted to ask you. Maybe you give me an answer. Why is it that only selective people happen to see, like for instance, someone that sees Bigfoot, you could have 500 people in a park, but yet one person sees this creature, this Bigfoot or a dog man or, whatever it could be. But the other 499 people, or yeah, 499 don't see it at all. It's like, why is that? It's like, are we on some type of different? Is it like randomly pick a number in a bin and pulls your number? Like, oh, I'm going to show myself to you. It's like I didn't ask for this. It's like, why does it randomly happen like that? Because it's like if you go tell people you work with the things like that of things that you're seeing, they're going to think you're crazy. They really do. You get labeled as all that person's a lunatic, or this person's crazy, or oh, you're misidentifying it as a cat or a bear. And it's like, dude, that ain't no bear or cat. What I saw literally looks like spaghetti stretched out humanoid creature. That does not look like a bear or a cat, or it resembles a human, but if a human looked like that, I don't want to meet them. Unfortunately, I already have, but you get what I mean, though. It's
Yeah,
just,
yeah, yeah. I just think a couple things that I think number one, m- more people have experienced stuff than what we could even imagine. Like, and it takes a lot for somebody to feel comfortable enough to tell their story. Okay. Because I think, like, I never, like, we go places and it bothers my wife, gets aggravated. But if we're someplace that, and I'm not clairvoyant or a medium or anything, if I go someplace and I'm like, I bet this place is haunted, I start asking. And guess what? People start looking around and going, well, I haven't seen anything, but this one person, and they start,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then when they tell you somebody else's story and you haven't thought they're crazy, they're like, but there was this one time, this is what happened to me. And so I think there's comfort in numbers, and I think people
yeah,
want to
yeah. I agree.
know that, that you're not going to think they're crazy, even though they have the story, and they would be the first people to, you know,
Well, that's one thing. Like talking to you the first time before doing this video, you made me feel a lot more comfortable because at first I was like really hesitant. I was like, man, I don't want to look like some fool, I don't, because what I seen, it's not natural, it's truly
yeah.
not, it's just not. And no, I greatly appreciate it, man, because yeah, me and my wife seen it, but that's us, of course we're
Mhm.
gonna trust each other and talk to each other. We have that bond and that comfort zone. But you actually made me feel a lot more comfortable just talking to you that first day because what I saw is what I saw. Can I explain it? No. You can believe me or not believe me, but I know what I seen, I know what I felt, and it was something literally out of this world, something that I'm convinced it's something that lives on the other side of the veil that can cross over or peer over. I don't know. But I just want to say thank you for giving me a place that I feel comfortable. I mean, I'm still nervous as it is, but it's nice to get that, I don't know, that weight off my chest of being like, hey, if you have something to happen to you, go to this guy.
Well, I appreciate that a lot, and but you're coming to a community of people, of listeners. They're all here because they want to hear this stuff. We'll have those random people, and for some reason they always seem to be the ones that like to write stupid comments. you know,
Yeah,
um,
yeah, trolls. I
I
understand.
know, which is I don't even know why they waste their time, but for the most part, you're coming to some place that our listeners are really welcoming, and they just want to hear what you're experiencing, and they're like you probably listen to a lot of stuff trying to figure out,
Oh, I
man,
have.
has anybody else had this happen? And it is super important. And I tell this people all the time, no matter how small an experience is, it's all a piece of the bigger puzzle in helping, the bigger picture come into focus, so to speak.
Yeah, and I have noticed too, like over time of me looking up stuff and your stuff, I've noticed that like the amount of sightings and things have increased drastically to where more people, and I don't know if the sightings have increased or like you said,
I just think it's
there's
people.
comfort in
Yeah.
numbers and
Hmm.
people are finally being like, you know what? I'm going to tell my story now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that it's
I think it's super important. I think it's super important.
yep.
So, well, Drew, I thank you so much for whoever your buddy is that listens and said to come check us out. You tell them I said thanks
Of
because
course, of course.
first of all, I think we do this because I love to hear these experiences, and as a person who is fascinated by this stuff, and then you get to know the people and you feel for them, and you want to help them get answers. But listen, when you first told me the story, I thought, man, I feel like I'm listening to an Art Bell show from 20 years ago. This is fantastic. And I'm not reveling in somebody else's, you know, crazy
Oh no,
story, but
it's
it's just like, wow, I can't believe I get to hear this stuff. This is amazing because, what is going on, and if I can even be a small part of helping people get answers, it's pretty cool. So
Yeah,
I just appreciate you coming on, and like I said, anybody out there listening, if you got anything to say, you know how to get a hold of us, because I want to hear it, and I know Drew wants to see if
absolutely. I'm willing to. It would be nice to know that if somebody else is, maybe seen something similar, or heard something from somebody else that's similar to what I keep seeing and experiencing. That would be nice.
All right.
At the same time, then I don't wish it upon anybody, because a lot of people sit there like, oh, I want to go find this. No, you really don't. Because if I could go through and change that night, I would. Just because,
yeah, I'm sure
this thing literally, like, if I hear noise behind me or something, the first thing that pops into my head is that. It's not like, oh, it's a man with a gun. No, I think it's that creature. That is subconscious. It's like PTSD, I guess you could say, of that thing is there, and I know that it's there because I've seen it multiple times. So it's like, yeah, you get really jumpy. You're a grown man, but you're running to your car to start it and running back to your house like a kid.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not a pleasant feeling. Even my old lady, she has the same issues. She gets home on, the night she works nights, and she's creeped out, and she like hurries up and runs in and locks the door.
I'm
it's
sure.
not a very pleasant feeling. So
I'm sure. Well, I appreciate it, Drew, and just like I said, stay safe out there, and hopefully we'll get some answers for you.
Yeah, most definitely.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the From the Shadows podcast. Until next time, never shy away from the darkness or what may be lurking in the shadows. We are out.
God only knows what's hiding in